so that we can spend time with our loved ones. Hi everyone, Dr. Cary here. Today I'm talking about nutrition and movement that can add years to your life. And I think all of us want to live a happy, healthy life and a long life, so that we can spend time with our loved ones, do the things we love to do. And today I'm going to be talking about that and some of the new research that's coming out on ways that we can stay healthy. So I'm Dr. Cary Yurkiw, and I've been practicing chiropractic for 31 years. I'm also an author. I've written books, and I'll share that with you today. And I'm a marathon runner. I've done over 20 races now, marathons, and half and full marathons, and I've really enjoyed them, just keeping in shape. I continue to run, I work out, do weights. I've been really studying nutrition. I've got a nutrition coach who's really helping me, somebody who's got a degree. So I like to pass on these tips that I'm learning for my own health to people that are watching these webinars. So let's talk about the longevity mindset. And I think that revolves around some of the common myths around aging, weight, and even energy. And I think as time goes on, what we see, especially in North America, in the Western civilization, is people as they age, they gain weight, especially around the midsection. And this has been going on for decades, probably 30 or 40 years now. And I think that a lot of it is due to lifestyle. I think our lifestyle is more sedentary now. We don't work as physically as we used to, let's say like 100 years ago. The foods are more refined, and there's more sugary, higher energy foods, which can be good, but if you eat too many of them, then it can be a bad thing, and I'll talk about that today. So, our insulin spikes, our pancreas is getting overloaded, and what happens is it leads to changes to our body and our brain too. And a lot of the newer research is talking about insulin and how that affects our brain. So today I want to talk about that and some of the common myths surrounding weight and aging. The big idea is small daily habit changes can lead to long-term vitality. I'm going to outline which ones those are today and how you can be stronger and healthier long-term. Now, I like to use the term metabolism because a lot of people are coming to the clinic saying, I'm tired and I just don't have the energy. I feel like I've been gaining weight even though I'm trying to eat healthy. This is a common theme in our clinic, and I wanted to address some of the concerns that people have with metabolism. So we want to fire up your metabolism, especially as you get over 40 years old. That's a really key time to start to work on your metabolism. Really, it's a lifelong process, but sometimes you can get away with it when you're in your 20s, not having the best lifestyle and still not being tired or gaining weight, but eventually it'll catch up with you. I want to talk about how food timing, protein, and blood sugar balance matters. So a lot of the research talks about the timing of foods. And as a marathon runner, what I've realized is when I eat certain foods matters for my performance when I'm running. For example, eating some carbohydrates, which are simple and complex sugars, before I go out to exercise, let's say 30 minutes before, really helps me during my run. Sometimes I take some energy chews with me, and as I'm running, I'll chew on some of these products like bonk breakers that really help you to flip from using sugars to using fats, which could cause some problems with with cramping. So I like to time when I'm eating these types of food, 30 minutes before with more carbohydrates, even the night before with some complex carbohydrates so that the complex carbs get stored in my muscle as glycogen. And then I can use these energy stores throughout my training or even a marathon. Now, after I run or do weights, go to the gym, eating protein is really important. And I try to do this first thing in the morning because it's a high priority for me. So I'll go to the gym first thing, some carbs before, then protein after. And protein kind of makes us feel full. It releases enzymes in your mouth and your digestive system. It starts to shut down the hunger center, makes you feel full. So protein is very important for hunger, but it's also very important to rebuild the body. So as the tissues break down, or if you have an injury, your body needs to rebuild itself, first with scar tissue, then with collagen, to get the elasticity back in those tissues. And protein's very important. It's the building blocks for the body. So you've got to get enough protein. And lately, to be honest, I've been focused a lot on getting my protein numbers up early in the day to the point where they get fulfilled first, and then maybe the carbs or the fats come after that. Today was a great day. I hit my protein target, I hit my fat target, and I was under on my carbohydrates, and I was under on my calories, and my fiber was a little bit short. Could have been a little better with fiber, but I use a macronutrient calculator called Macros First. And if you're interested in that, I can always drop that in the chat, or you can DM me. I'd be happy to send that to you. So very good calculator, and it helps with the macronutrients, carbohydrate, protein, fats, and fiber. The blood sugar balance is really important. And what I mean by that is if you're eating too much sugar at once, including carbohydrates, it can spike your insulin. And when your insulin spikes, the priority shifts to taking that excess energy in the form of sugar, putting it away as fat, so you're going to gain weight. It's going to increase the fluid retention. You're going to feel puffy. And if you keep doing that, you're going to stress out your pancreas and your insulin, and the potential of the cells to get insulin resistant increases. And this can lead to conditions like metabolic sluggishness. And so you can start to feel tired, slow, or sluggish. And new research is even talking about how this affects your brain. So it's important that we keep the insulin levels in check. The only way to do that is by eating sugars more slowly throughout the day, not eating as much sugar or carbohydrates, and even eating foods that have higher fiber. More complex carbohydrates can delay the release of the sugars, and then there's not a big spike in your insulin levels. So metabolic slowdown is real, but the good news is we can do something about it. So for my nutrition blueprint, one of the things that's worked for me in the past is a fasting window, like intermittent fasting. And for me, the 16-8 fasting method worked the best, meaning 8 hours of eating and 16 hours of fasting. Now, you might like 12-12. You might go with other fasting ratios. So I would experiment and keep it flexible. I would also consult with your health professional first, because for certain conditions, fasting or intermittent fasting may not be the best thing. It worked for me, but it may not work for you, and it may not be healthy for you. So I would talk to your doctor or your health professional about that. Then certain superfoods are important. Like I like to eat berries. Raspberries are my favorite. Blueberries I'll put in my smoothies and shakes. Strawberries. The berries have a lot of fiber in them and some carbohydrate and a lot of micronutrients too. Vegetables are great for that. Eggs, excellent. And some meats and fish, of course, very good for micronutrients. So you want to get foods that are more natural, not processed, foods that don't have a lot of additives. So your body recognizes those foods, it can process them. And foods that have a lot of nutrients in them, so you're not getting depleted of your nutrients, which is going to lead to hunger, because your brain and your body is going to start to crave certain foods. And that's what happens during pregnancy. when the baby's growing, if you're deficient in certain nutrients, you're going to be craving certain foods because your body wants to get those nutrients into the system. Avoid energy traps. Sugar's an energy trap. It's addictive in a way. You know, when you eat sugar, it lights up the center in your brain that's very close to the addictive center, the dopamine release center. There's some studies that have shown that the sugar center in the brain is very close to an area where, you know, if you're taking drugs and I'm talking about street drugs, it can light up that area of your brain that's very close to the same area where sugar can light up that same area, release dopamine. So it gets to be addictive, and sometimes when you're eating sugar a lot, you don't even realize how addictive it is, but it can put you on this cycle of getting lots of energy, and then kind of going down, like crashing, and then more energy, and then crashing again. So this is what I call an energy trap. Grazing, sometimes that can be good depending on what types of foods you're eating, but if you're eating snacks, you're grazing on chips, that's not great. So it depends on the types of foods you're eating. I don't encourage people to graze throughout the day, because if you are, you're going to be releasing some of those that insulin. So I would avoid trying to spike your insulin or release it several times in the day. But snacks can be good periodically throughout the day, just to keep your energy levels up and in the right way. And then late night snacks, not good, because just before you go to bed, if you're eating a lot of calories, they're going to be stored away as fat because you have no work to do. You have nothing to do other than sleep. So very bad time to be eating right before bed. Training is important. I would recommend training to stay lean for life. A lot of research is showing that strength training is very important, doing weights as we age. So I encourage my patients, including seniors, to do weights. Strength training beats cardio for longevity, because when you're strength training, what it does is it releases certain chemicals, like for men, testosterone, releases endorphins, and it increases your metabolism. So your body has to process energy even when you're resting after doing weights. The other thing is it makes you stronger and more adaptive to different situations, like your reflexes become faster, and that'll prevent falls and injuries. So that's really important too as we age. You want to maintain your lean mass, kind of like when you were a youth, and maintain the energy production in your body. That energy is being made in the cells in the mitochondria, and to make energy in the mitochondria, you need oxygen, and you need some sugars that have been broken down, and those two products can produce a lot of energy. Now, if you don't have sugar available, mobilizing fat in your body in the form of ketones, that can be burned too in the body. So if you want to lose weight, flipping into that fat mobilization is a good idea. And that's another topic for another day. And I do write about that in the book called The 100-Day Diet, which I'll share with you in a minute. So remember, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. There's things you can do, like if you do weights and you're resting and sleeping after you've done weights, your body's going to be working at a higher level, burning more fuel to rebuild the body, to make it stronger. Walking, some mobility breaks throughout the day, postural resets, all very important for our health and metabolism. Morning stretching and evening unwinding. And some ideas around that would be maybe some meditation or yoga would be great for that. Maybe you want to focus on 10,000 steps a day, which would be great. Or even being in a certain zone of heart rate, like zone 2, that would be awesome. The other thing that we find is for mental clarity. If you keep your metabolism in check, you're going to be clearer in your mind. You won't be as foggy, which a lot of people complain about. More and more research is showing there's a connection between the gut and the brain. In fact, research is showing that certain chemicals and receptors that are in the brain are also present in your intestine, in your gut. So things like probiotics, things like some fermented foods could help. Like having the right gut flora, just making sure that the diet is healthy and consistent, you'll have the right bacteria to break down that food. But there's research that shows that that bacteria can also trigger or stimulate certain signals in the gut, and which are very similar to those signals in the brain. So I would focus on your diet and the types of food you're eating on a regular basis. That's going to help you with even the brain fog. Hydration, drinking enough water. I always tell my patients to also drink some electrolytes, very important, because the electrolytes help to keep the right water balance in the body. So I like healthy electrolyte tablets like Noon, N-U-U-N, electrolyte tablets. They're excellent. I use them for running. There's other ones out there too. I would avoid sugary drinks that have electrolytes because that could stress your system again, just spiking the insulin. Sunlight, very important, not only for vitamin D production, but stimulates your retina and releases chemicals in the brain. Very important to get out, to get some sunshine. It just makes you happier and it's going to make you feel better. And taking some screen breaks, not being at the desk so much, sitting all day, but taking some breaks from that. You can do a short breathing routine to regulate your stress, like meditation. It's not that hard to learn how to meditate. Just doing some breathing, some mental focus can really help. I use some tools. I shared macros first with you earlier. You could use Carb Manager as well. They're both very good. And then I use Apple Fitness for my tracking for my fitness and my steps. I wear an Apple Watch, but you can use a different type of watch to track your steps. So I would encourage you to use these tools because they're going to help you to make sense of the foods you're eating, your activity levels, and even things like your sleep cycles. A food journal is good too, whether it's digital or on paper, your step count, and then doing a weekly workout routine. I've been working out with Trainwell lately. It's an online app, and Fitness Coach, they are excellent. My coach is the best. So I'm very happy with Eric's help. And Eric, if you're watching this, fantastic. But you've really made a big difference for me in the past year with my strength and my physical activity. Keep it light. What gets measured gets managed. Yeah, do your best to track things. Sometimes it takes time to build a new habit. So tracking, give yourself a bit of a break, but keep at it, keep working at it. Now, I wrote a book called The 100-Day Diet, and this book was written in 2022. And I wrote this book because I lost 32 pounds in 100 days. I had done a ton of research because I was struggling with weight loss, and I finally was able to break through. I did the research, it was scientific. I watched testimonials of people who had lost weight, and I lost 32 pounds in 100 days. I was so excited to get my weight down, and I kept a journal, and the 100-Day Diet is based on my journal. If you want to get the book, scan this QR code right here. It'll take you to Amazon. You can get that in ebook, paperback, or audiobook, and you can get this codes for the US market, but you can also switch over to the Canadian market or international, and you can get that book there. I would challenge you or encourage you to do one strength workout, one fasting window, and one protein-rich breakfast this week. That'll get you started. Again, check with your health professional before you start fasting, just to make sure that that's the right thing for you. So which one will you commit to first? Which one will you take action on? And I would encourage you to take action today just to get the ball rolling. In closing, if you want to get my free guide, which is my daily longevity routine, you can type in the chat here, comment below, or DM me. Be happy to send that to you. And then you can follow that guide based on what I talked about today. Remember, consistency is better than intensity. So keep it regular. It's going to beat fads, and it's going to beat doing really intense workouts periodically. If you want a 15-minute health coaching consult with me, use this QR code, and for a limited time, you can book a 15-minute consult. It's free, and you can discuss some of the challenges you're facing, some of the goals you have, and if I feel we have the right plan for you, definitely we will discuss what we can do to help you. If you want to call or text, this is my number right here. You can call or text directly, and we can provide some resources to you, or even some health coaching to you, set you up on a program so that you can optimize your health today. I want to thank you for joining me for this webinar. I hope you learned something from it and you put some of these tips into action.